Welcome everyone to our Winners Wednesday. I've got a very familiar face that you guys probably have seen before on here, Miss Sarah Smith, all the way from Oklahoma City. How are you doing, Sarah?
I am great. How are you?
Good, good. I like the pink. You're all bright today.
You know me.
I know, whereas I'm opposite, right? So black
I was
every day.
I was having a little hair crisis before this, like, oh no. And I'm like, this is why Micah doesn't stress about that stuff. So she can worry about what's really important. But
That's why I put my hair back every day.
right.
Yeah,
It makes
exactly.
it
So
makes sense.
I like to use, I heard this a long time ago that if you look at the most, successful people in the world, they actually tend to wear like grays or black, nothing against pink. It's actually more toward the men. But it's because they don't want to take that mental capacity to think about what they're going to wear. So I use that as an excuse, and it is an excuse. But anyway,
It makes sense. I'll tell you, I saw Michael Mayer there in Cabo this year, and he was wearing the exact same thing he was wearing last year, black pants and a black hoodie. So he doesn't waste his time thinking about what to wear.
See, there you go. There you go. So there is a method by madness.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited today because this is kind of a different Winners Wednesday episode. And, Sarah, you've been a guest before and, absolutely done a great job. Got a great group of agents there in Oklahoma City and, a successful agent yourself. But I wanted to get on here really to talk about your latest trip. So you went to Cabo. I'm jealous. I definitely had FOMO every day that I saw your pictures because I had tickets and was supposed to go as well. But, life happens. And, for those of you that don't know, Cabo, it's not necessarily an EXP event. It's open to all brokerages and guests. But it really is geared toward leveling ourselves up as a real estate agent, not just in production, but also in agent attraction and long-term wealth, which I think is something that's very unique kind of to the EXP model is there's all these different vast opportunities. And we all, a lot of people think that you're going to get stranded on an island, we're virtual, you're going to be alone. But when you get involved and you start going to all these events and you meet agents from all over the world, it's really an experience that I've never seen before in the collaborative environment and community. So I know you went last year. Just kind of give us a brief overview. What is Cabo? Why was it so great? And why should we all go next year?
Well, it's beautiful, but like being at events is, I think, one of like the most important things you can do to meet people. And then you get referrals from those agents in other, cities and states, but also just to like get fulfilled and kind of re-energized and remember why it is we're doing this. Like, why do I work? Why do I love this company? I mean, it's easy to get in a rut and get stuck with like laundry at home. But when you're like in another country, you don't have to worry about those things. And you can really like remember what's important.
Mm-hmm.
So always go to events. Always. And I think Cabo is my favorite event.
Sharing this to you. That's great. So you've been to, oh, did I lose you? Maybe it's my screen.
I can hear you.
Okay. I'm just checking my connection here. So it came back on. It exited out for me for a second.
Technology, you gotta love it.
Well, yeah, Puerto Rico. So our Wi-Fi is usually pretty good, but every once in a while, not so much. So you went last year, you went this year. I couldn't agree more. I think, any real estate agent, no matter what event it is, should go to as many events as possible, whether it be EXPCon or shareholders, Build, Cabo, all of these different events. They always say that big decisions happen at big events. So kind of walk us through what did you learn at Cabo? What were some of the big takeaways and why is it such an important, aspect of your business?
I have 12 pages of notes. Number one takeaway is don't forget to wear sunscreen, even if it's cloudy and a little chilly. I learned this lesson every year of my life.
I did see a little bit red in some of the photos.
Oh my God. Next takeaway though is every single speaker, it was all about being a servant leader. And that's just something that I find different than other real estate trainings and classes and companies that I've been at. It's just literally every single person was talking about being a servant leader. And this year, because the market is kind of down, so normally in USA, there's 6 million houses sold. This year, there will be 4.5 million sold. So a huge decrease in home sales. And so it was a lot about production this year, actually, on how, you can stand out and not be, a lot of agents are going to get out of the business this year. And so we kind of focused on production and how to be using agents in a down market. So that was good. But let me go over all these dang notes. Okay, so Kevin Kaufman, he interviewed the 8 biggest teams in the nation. So not with EXP, just all over the nation. He talked to the 8 are the top teams in the nation, and here's the 8 most common activities that they all do. And a lot of it last week was about like having a big team, and like I'm a solo agent, I'm an independent agent, and so it kind of makes you think like maybe a team is a good way to go, but have a predictable environment, have standards and expectations for every role, and have a cadence to your day. Keep score. So visually display the score for the team to see, like track who's doing lead gen, who's doing appointments, who's getting listing agreements, closings, and tracking helps you grow. And I've always said like attract number grows, but a little competition I think is good too. So if you can kind of see everyone's numbers, that's great motivation.
Right.
Team leaders actively plan and manage their time and honor their time blocks. And they share their calendar to create accountability. And they leverage their personal work time and have like a dedicated like thinking time. Team leaders understand the team's financials and review them monthly. And sometimes it's good to like hire an outside opinion to go over your numbers every month.
Right.
Team leaders teach nonstop about leadership, investments, life skills, motivation, increase your influence. And I love this. The more you give, the more you get, which I think that enables what EXP is all about.
Right.
The first time you ever told me about EXP, because I'm a former Mary Kay director, I was like, oh, this totally makes sense. The more people you help, the better you do.
Right. And that's interesting. I want to kind of highlight that because a lot of people look at EXP as it might just be a recruiting company. But I always like to say that's just because they don't understand our model. When you understand the brilliance of the agent equity and the revenue share and how we're really incentivized to help our people, we're all in this together. That's what separates us from just a quote unquote recruiting model.
Right. If people aren't doing good, it's not going to benefit us all. So, and we truly want everyone to do well,
Right.
Right. Team leaders are executive athletes. So focus on health, energy, growth, personal development, be purposeful with your circle. So really look at who you hang around, and sometimes you have to reevaluate that, which is hard.
What do they say? You're the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with, which it doesn't mean that they're bad people. I know for me, we've personally had to, hey, Ruben, good morning. I see that he just put a little comment here. I'll go ahead and throw it up. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. When you change your circle, it just means that you've outgrown that level of goals and you have a different vision. So, there we got a puppy.
I thought if I pick her up, she'll stop kind of barking.
So, and I've often told people, hey, you might look at if you're hanging around the same people all the time, that may not be the best thing. It's not matching what your future goals are. You might look at change. Doesn't mean you can't hang around them anymore. Doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means you need to align yourself of where you want to go. And so I think that's a really key component.
And something that stood out to me, because, the top agents in the Oklahoma City area, sometimes I'm like intimidated to offer them this opportunity that could really help them a lot because, they don't think they need help. But if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to move to a different room. And I like in Cabo, I was learning from people that sell $250 million a year. And there's not anyone in Oklahoma doing that. So it's like, they really need to make a move if they want to grow. If you're the top person in your office, guess what? That means you need to find a bigger office.
Right.
I don't know. That's something that just like, that wasn't taught, but that's just stood out to me. Like, if you aren't selling $250 million a year, then find a company that a lot of agents are. They had everyone in, there's like, I don't know, a couple thousand of us in Cabo, and they had everyone stand up that sold a $10 million home, and like half the room stood up. Okay, keep standing if you sold a $15 million house. Keep standing if you sold a $20 million house. People selling $25 million houses. And
Wow.
I'll get to that. It's another page of notes where we really have a whole luxury side of EXP, which is interesting. But anyways, okay, back to page number 2 of my notes. Teams have value propositions, and team leaders always have recruiting on their mind. So keep in mind, this is not what EXP teams are saying. This is what teams from the top teams around the country from other companies are saying. So every company has to think about recruiting. I mean, you have to be focused on recruiting, production, retention. Every
Exactly.
brokerage out there is focused on that, not just EXP. If you want a growing business, you have to focus on that. And I don't know why EXP sometimes gets a bad name for that. But if your office wasn't recruiting, no one would be there.
Well, I don't think even just offices, if we think about it in life in general, if you go to a restaurant that you like, you're going to go naturally tell your friends because it was a good experience, you had great food, you want to tell your friends. Or if, somebody's married, you recruited your spouse. So as much as we don't want to admit it, we've all recruited at some point in our lives. And recruiting just means partnering with people that you like, know, and trust, that you want to be in business with, and sharing an opportunity because you care about them. That to me is what recruiting actually means. I just want to give a quick shout out to Deanne. She said alignment is so important. I could not agree more.
We also got to hear from Dave, is it Concord or Connord?
Connord, yeah, the president
okay.
of EXP Realty North America. Yep.
Yes. And he went over the growth of EXP, and it's amazing to see like how much it has grown. But the crazy thing is, like, we don't have 5% of the market. So there's so much room for growth. 9 out of 10 agents are not with EXP. So don't think
that
that
really kind of takes away the objection of it's too late. EXP's already taken over.
Exactly. It's not too late. But Micah was very smart to be agent number 333.
But I do believe now more than ever is a really, really incredible time to be a part of EXP. I think the opportunity in the next 12, 24 months is unlike anything that we've ever seen before. I know we've talked about this kind of off camera, but I truly believe there's no better time to join EXP, and that's not just a sales pitch.
They keep adding stuff there just that's going to benefit us, not that's going to benefit the company, like, the broker or the owner. It's all to benefit the agents. Amy Weaver and Sean Murphy came out, and they're the VPs of growth. And like, I had never thought of like reaching out to corporate to have them help go over numbers with someone. But these, oh my gosh, Amy, she like loves a spreadsheet, loves numbers, she's like, I would love to talk to any brokerage that and go over the numbers and see how much more they'll make at EXP or how long it'll take until they're making a lot more at EXP.
Not using it all the time. She's amazing. Great.
Right. And so that was good to know, that kind of having an outside source, like, don't take my word for it, like go over the actual numbers, to make your own decision. And it was interesting. It's not if EXP will be better. It's just how much more you'll make or how long it'll take to be making a lot more.
Right.
And so let's see. Chad Hedrick. He's a 5-time Olympic medalist. And so he was very motivational to hear from. He was a speed skater, but he said, be a servant leader. He was working at a different office, like not at EXP, but he went to EXPCon, and he was shocked that everyone was working together. So he had been, I'm pretty positive he's at Keller Williams before. He had been to lots of Keller Williams conferences, and he came to EXPCon and was just shocked at how everyone is like one big team and wanting to help each other. And he said, leave a legacy. Other companies don't care about your family. And that is one of the main things that I do think EXP stands out about.
I think it goes back to that rule that, you know, accountability partners are great, but nobody's going to care about you and your goals more. Maybe they care, but they're not going to care more than you personally do. So it kind of goes back to that golden rule and what the opportunity is and what the fast vehicle to get to your goals is.
And as much as you love your broker, as much as you like love your office, you should love your family more, and you should do what's best for the next several generations of your family, not your broker's family.
At least to look at the opportunity, right?
Maybe that's harsh. Okay. Michelle Wilson, she said failure is a prerequisite to success. So to succeed faster, fail faster. And so she ran a big office and was very successful. But she said the personal sacrifices and stress of running a big office became no longer worth it. Most people will keep doing what they're doing because they don't see a way out. Most people won't take the risk to have more. They'll take the risk to stay the same. Like it's a risk to stay the same. So which, you know, risk is worth it. But she left the business that she grew for 14 years, just like walked away from this company that she had built because it just wasn't worth it anymore. And then she came to EXP and was able to grow it in a year. What she took 14 years somewhere else.
That's amazing. So just put your head down for 12 months and you can change your life.
And it wasn't taking the sacrifices away from her life like it was before. So Rob Flick was, of course, wonderful. And I like love numbers. Like it's a numbers game. And he made $300,000 a year at Keller Williams, which is wonderful, from like profit share. And then it came to EXP and for the exact same thing made 5 to 10 million a year.
Wow. And how many years have you been with EXP? I think maybe 7, if I'm not mistaken.
2016. He joined in 2016. And so said, build it when you don't need it. So when you do need it, it's already there. And I love that because you could be really successful now. You can make $1 million a year selling houses. But if something happens to you, like what's your plan? How is that going to keep coming in? Even though things are fine and you don't need it now, one day you could.
Life happens, right? I mean, health or changes in the business, market change. I mean, there's all different kinds of variables to that.
Right. He donated his EXP stock to a foundation that gives over $1 million a year and will put 1,000 students through trade school. So that's awesome. And it's kind of like, oh, you don't need the stock? Great. Donate it. You know, like, don't not get it.
The impact he's making. That's incredible.
Yeah, that like amazing. Here's a list of things I have to do when I get home, which now I'm home, so I will be doing this, and Micah will keep me accountable.
You know me too well.
This is why I'm telling you. So get my organization together and watch the wealth chart training on YouTube. Do a contest to get 100 no's. And this is a very Mary Kay thing I have been training all my people on for years and years, even before we were at EXP. Mary Kay, we call it a bubble sheet. But lots of people did kind of train on this. So you just make like a sheet with 100 circles and get 100 no's. And I don't remember who it was. Brent, it might have been Brent, was like, okay, I'll give you $1,000 if you can get 100 no's and not a single yes. And so I'm going to do a contest with my people that maybe I will take them to Cabo next year if they get 100 no's.
Nice. I love it.
I'll tell you.
Competition.
I love competition. I'll tell you because I know my numbers, and like law of averages is law of averages. It doesn't matter the business you're in, but Mary Kay on a bubble sheet with 57 bubbles, I would get 10 yeses.
Wow.
And just knowing your numbers and knowing how many people you need to talk to reach your goals, that's all you got to do is know your numbers.
And here's the reality is you're making those contacts, and if it's a no today, doesn't mean it's a no tomorrow, right?
Right. And like celebrate the no because you have the guts to ask. That's huge. You know, fail faster. And then kind of I just started writing down things that I was personally thinking to ask agents because I genuinely want to know these things, but if time and money were no concern, what would you do? Mm-hmm. Like, would you keep selling houses? I know I will probably always sell homes to people that I know and love and trust, but will I want to drive 3 hours for one 10-minute showing? Nope, not gonna do that anymore. And
Pick
if you
and choose,
could,
right? So it just allows you to have more flexibility.
yeah, be pickier with your time. If you could no longer sell houses, could your family's lifestyle stay the same? That's interesting. And then, like, what's your exit strategy? And I met a guy in the pool, or I was in the hot tub, and this man who is not a realtor, he's there with his family, his wife, and his kid is right there. And he said, and I had an EXP hat on, and he's like, "What's EXP stand for? I'm seeing all these EXP people. What is this?" And so I was telling him about it, but I was like, you know those realtor, and he lives in California. And I was like, you know those realtors with the Cadillac and the cane? And he was like, yep. I'm like, those realtors that are gonna sell a house till the day they die, and they're really old. And I'm like, we won't have to be those people. That's pretty much what EXP is to me. We won't have to do that because we have retirement plans, really. And another thing on my list to do is to follow all the speakers on social media.
Love it.
Back to Rob Flick. Don't be selfish. If you don't need it, others do. So just because you are content and happy, say, making $1 million a year selling houses, you could help so many more people. And he was 13th highest paid at Keller Williams, and no one has surpassed him in 18 years.
Wow. That's incredible.
So, and this is crazy, like bonkers to me. Multiple people last week talked about how they are only alive, like they are not like literally, they are only alive because of their rev share and because the money that EXP has provided has been able to get them the best medical help.
You just gave me like literally, you just gave me goosebumps.
Multiple people. Like,
that's incredible. So when we say life changing, we mean it.
Life
right?
saving. Like,
right.
Holy cow. So he goes to Panama. He's able to go to Panama to get like stem cells. He has a private cardiologist that was able to rebuild his heart.
Incredible.
And these things cost money,
Yeah.
So yeah, like you might be like, well, I'm not flashy. I don't need to come there and get a Ferrari and all this stuff. But you might need like a very expensive private cardiologist one day, or your family will lose you. It's not just about like being rich so you can buy all this fancy stuff.
Well, it's about health. It's about wealth, which includes, wealth. It very much includes your own personal health and the well-being of your family, but then also helping others. So when I talk to agents, they're like, well, I don't care about money. I'm like, I understand you don't care about money. Money never comes before relationships and your health and your family and all those different things, but they are tied together, whether we want to believe it or not. Right. And I think we're ingrained here in such a young age to say that money's kind of the forces of all evil. And that's just not the truth. It depends on if you're a bad person, you're going to be an even more bad person with money. If you're a good person, you're going to be even better and be able to help more people. That's how I look at it. It just really almost accelerates of who you are as an individual.
And think if, normally a realtor, you only get paid if you have a buyer or a seller, and then you're unemployed as soon as that house is sold pretty much, and you only get paid that one time. It's not paying you year after year after year. But imagine if like the people that don't care about money, if you could do a little bit of work today, so 30 years from now, you can afford to take your whole extended family, your kids and your grandkids and your great grandkids to Hawaii. Like they'll cost some money, but to be able to get your family is going to maybe other states, grow, have kids, all these things. But with money, you can help bring people together and get to spend more time with your family. But you might not be thinking about that if you just have little kids right now. But it is like long game. I'm like a over planner. It's probably bad, like an extreme. But it's like everything I do is for like 30 years from now, stuff that doesn't even pertain to me now. Like, but live in the moment, but plan for the future.
So is that why our group is called Legacy Builders? Literally, it's called Legacy Builders.
And I know everything you do is for your kids. And also tell Adele that I really missed him not being in Cabo this year, because we had a lot of fun making TikToks in Cabo last year.
We'll make some in Oklahoma City next week.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay, Mary Maloney. So production, and she attracts agents, and that's great. Like, I mean, if you're a high producer and you sell a lot of houses, that gives you credibility. My Pepper does not like that she's being ignored. She's used to being very spoiled with attention.
Well, she can come back in the video. That's okay.
Just like glaring at me. Anyways, Mary is retired Navy, and her husband's also military, and so they had gotten together and they had like, financial advisor, and they had a plan to retire like when he was 67.
Wow.
But thanks to revenue share, she was able to retire her husband quite a bit early, and she bought him a Sprinter van.
Doesn't hurt, right?
We love those, Let's see. Listings are how you can do more business. And she sends plastic cards with a Starbucks gift card to different demographics. And the crazy thing is, I was like, I would like to do that, or like kind of farming my neighborhood, and things like that. And then like the next day, or maybe that day, I got an email from a company that like sends the plastic postcards, where you can like tear out a gift card or something. Like, there we go.
It's a sign.
Add that to my to-do list. I check marked the email, so I'll go back to it. Okay, Jeff and Marcy Willems. So there was a panel of 4 agents, and these 4 agents sold between $100 to $250 million a year. Matt Smith is in Missouri, will sell 900 homes this year. Like very high producers. Here's some things I wrote down from the panel is, we are way more than a real estate company. EXP is much bigger than buying and selling homes. Be a shining light to your clients. And agents don't go down a rabbit hole getting depressed over the news. So thanks to, I don't know, I counted, you probably have a different number than me, but I counted like 8 streams of income that we have other than buying and selling houses the other day. And so say interest rates go to 100% and the market, I know the market crashes. A lot of agents are just going to be freaking out, but we can have a peace of mind because really we have so many streams of income. It's okay. So that we are not stressed. We can be a shining light to our clients, to really help walk them through things because we're not freaking out.
Well, and I've said that for years. When you have financial stability, you walk, talk, act differently. Like you said, you're not coming from a place of scarcity and really in the best interest of those that you work with. So I definitely agree with that. And also when you look at diversifying, you have the ability to work with agents all over the country, all over the world, right? So God forbid something happened to our market here, which we hope that it doesn't. We have the ability to work with agents in other countries. And so it really brings just this whole different level of opportunity.
Right. It's say like our market here isn't doing great. That's okay. Go focus on another one. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
I like tell myself this, don't worry. Before you say it. So Joey and Sophia Satariano, I became friends with them in the hot tub. And then they spoke the next day. Amazing people. She was born into foster care and at 18 was still in foster care. Like her whole life was in the system. They are just amazing people. She was the front desk girl at Keller Williams and he was an agent. And now they're married.
Yeah.
He was like, so anything can happen. You can get the front desk girl's number.
Okay.
But he said that he'd been stuck on the transactional treadmill. So just transactional treadmill. And if he said, now he
So
says,
explain that for people that haven't heard that term. Explain what the transaction treadmill is.
so kind of like I said a minute ago, you buy or sell a house, or you have a buyer or a seller, and then as soon as that house closes, you're unemployed again, and now you got to hustle, find the next buyer or seller, and there's kind of no like calm peace to it, just having to do whatever you can always to find a buyer or a seller, and you can never stop. You can never take time off because then you have nothing under contract. You have no money coming in at
Right.
most companies. But he says, build your business around your life instead of your life around your business, which
Powerful.
I love. And outlove the competition. These people, they were such servant leaders. And she told me that in the hot tub. She works for this is onboarding special. She does all the international onboarding, and her husband is a realtor.
Nice.
But I was like, oh, that onboarding, that kind of seems like a hassle and a pain, and people are kind of stressed out. And she's like, I can really help them, and I love being a servant leader. And I'm like, I'm so glad that we have you. But he also said, ask for help. Be okay with asking for help. Collaboration is the new competition. So stop going against each other and help each other. EXP is great about that. But I love like getting friends together from all different companies, and we can all help each other. There's plenty of business for everyone. It should not be a competition. Love is the number one business strategy, like that. And the secret is being willing to fail. And we really kind of practiced getting outside our comfort zone and stuff in Mexico, especially Abby. I'm very proud of Abby. She went surfing. She sang karaoke with me. Like, so nervous, but I'm like, just get this over with. You can do anything,
Rip off that Band-Aid.
Yes. So be willing to fail and you will go far.
I love that.
Oh, do you know about blockchain?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I didn't.
Well, everybody's going to in the next few years is what's going to happen.
Right. So we had like the blockchain specialist with the NAR portfolio company come and talk to us. And really, it's going to be the new way of doing real estate and being able to close on a weekend, 365 days a year. In a week. It's like the legal Napster, if you guys remember like music Napster back in my day. And people will be able to get better interest rates and insurance costs because there's going to be data on the inside of their homes. It's going to be practically like a worldwide MLS. And EXP will be the leader of it.
Right. Absolutely. And that's, that's just kind of being the leader of technology, and the fact that we're one brokerage, it allows us to be more agile and on top of these new technologies coming in.
Right. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm talking too much. I still have a lot of notes. Let me keep going.
We might have to do a part two. No, I'm just kidding. This is great. This is awesome.
Okay. Let's see. So yeah, blockchain was like mind blowing. And I was in my hotel room in Mexico, and this owner of some other random real estate company here called me trying to don't you want to keep more of your money? And I'm like, I make over 100%. Like, what are you going to do? Pay me a big salary and let me keep all of my commission, And he's like, no. But, but I was like, do you know about blockchain? And I was like, EXP's prepared for what will happen with the market. Adam Bailey, he talks even faster than me. Create a marketing campaign to create listing appointments. Like use the ugly yellow postcard, have a Google business profile, create landing pages on KV Core, create raving fans, have like live chats on your website, and it's like ask for help, but have them be like funny and more like personable.
Right.
Depend on systems instead of managing people. So have these systems in place and marketing plans, and you can get plenty of listings. Gene Frederick. So this was another, I loved hearing from him, of course. What was mind blowing to me, the most 10 years that are the most productive in your entire life are when you're between 60 to 70 years old.
Mhm.
The second decade that's the most productive in your life is when you're between 70 and 80.
Wow.
And this reason is because there's no fear of failure.
Right. I can
So
see that.
very interesting, like great perspective. And the difference between successful versus great, like you can be successful and be perfectly content, but being great is leaving a legacy. Optimism is thinking forward. This was also interesting, and I think all the Puerto Rico people can understand. But in 2018, when his wife wrote a check for $3.5 million to the IRS for taxes, it's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem.
Yeah. Don't care what others think. And his keys to greatness: 1, have a specific huge goal. Number 2, don't care what other people think. And number 3, pray for abundance.
Good one.
And then just like we already know, profit sharing is sharing off of the profit, and revenue share is sharing off of the revenue. So
Big
think about
differences,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Big differences.
Okay, let's see. Oh, Brent got on stage and he said, raise your hand if you own a mortgage company. And I raised my hand because I already knew that I am an owner of Success Lending. But a lot of people didn't even realize, we have so many things going for us, people don't even know.
Right.
Vincent St. Louis has never sold a house. He joined EXP to build a legacy. He goes to 8 open houses every weekend to meet agents. He brought EXP to South Africa. It was very funny. He meets agents on LinkedIn. He was able to take a year off to take care of his dad, and EXP still paid him $180,000 that year. He makes tons of calls. He owned a construction company, so that's how Brent knew him, as he was like a contractor, I think, that he had used. So Vincent owned a construction company and had lawsuits, liability, huge overhead. It took a lot of time away from his family. So when he heard about EXP, he was like, okay, that's what I need to do. This makes perfect sense. And he said, a blind squirrel can find an acorn if they keep looking.
Wow.
Yeah. So currently Keller Williams is down 12% sales volumes and EXP is up 20%. I just like the number facts, Let's see.
You mean we're attracting producers, right? We actually sell some real estate.
Right. We sell a lot of houses. Scott Lewis says, who in your life right now needs you? We have the best model, but the reason people come is because of people. So even though, EXP offers more than anyone needs, the reason that people really join is because of people. Don't let good be the enemy of great. Borrow someone else's story until you have your own. And this is something like I did in Mary Kay world. If, say, the person I'm talking to has a big family, I would just tell them about this leader I know that has a big family. If
you want to make it relatable, right?
Right. And there's so many different kinds of people, different kinds of stories. There is someone that can totally relate.
Right.
It is such a diverse group. This is powerful. If you traded your excuse with someone else, you would want yours back.
Wow. That is powerful.
And a man without vision will perish, the Bible says. Michael Valdez, who is, who brings EXP around the world, it says your next buyer can come from around the corner or around the world. Doesn't matter which. No, we want those clients from anywhere. So why only limit yourself to the people around the corner?
Right.
And right now, EXP is in 24 countries and growing. Pete Middleton, he was the number 1 Ingalls and Volkers luxury team in the world. Okay. And this is what Abby and I said all week long. Everything you want is just outside your comfort zone. Because after he said that, we were like, yeah, let's do everything outside our comfort zone. But so he is the big leader in luxury and helping grow EXP luxury. He says, know the local market, the next luxury neighborhood coming, be familiar with that, network, look the part, have consistent branding, a looks aesthetic, attention to detail. And now you can be like you can get a luxury certification and to be an EXP luxury agent. It's $2,500 a year, and you have to prove you have sold 3 houses in a certain amount of time that are like triple the average in your MLS. So you can't just say your luxury. You really
it's actually a designation that's earned.
Yes, you really have sold houses, luxury houses before. So Brent Gove, he is who puts this on, and it's just to inspire us. And it was amazing. He, what's it called? Save a home, sell a home, save a child. And I sponsor a kid in Haiti ever since I went to Cabo last year. Every month I sponsor this kid in Haiti through Forward Edge. But he said if he, for the first 5 people that will donate $20,000, he will fly to your town, help you have meetings starting at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, all day, host an event for you, go out with the people afterwards, do it all over again the next day. And just if you help these children and make a donation, he will spend a lot of his time and a lot of his money helping you grow your business. And there's nothing in it for him, because a lot of people there are not in his downline at all, nothing in it for him. And it's just a true, servant leader.
Right. I mean, we do that, and even at our Puerto Rico mastermind, he came and spoke and offered, and just, I think that's one of the cool things. And for those that don't know, Cabo is not technically an EXP event. I know we're talking a lot about EXP just because a lot of the agents are with EXP, but it's agent led. Where do you see that anywhere else, where this whole massive conference with thousands of agents in foreign countries, or even other states, we do them here as well, but is agent led? I think that's incredible.
I liked this. He had a big Amway business. I had a Mary Kay business, and you see that when you're in kind of direct selling, you get to really, I think you pay more attention to other people's success compared to if you were in any other kind of business where you're working for yourself. And so I always like hearing people's direct selling stories. But he had a big Amway business, filed bankruptcy at age 29. His parents were realtors at Coldwell Banker for 25 years. He was at Remax for 13 years, then Keller Williams for 9. And the other companies are great. And this is the thing. No one talked bad about any other company. Every other company is wonderful too. They're just different, And he
There's
said
a home for every kind of agent.
It takes all kinds of kinds. The other companies are great, but don't offer ownership equity. And EXP has 5% of the market, so it's not too late. We're a debt-free, multi-billion-dollar company. And I don't think everyone realizes what a big deal that is. And probably a lot of people don't even know the debt that their company is in.
Well, and I think that goes back from early when Glenn Sanford originally created EXP. He did it more organically instead of this big IPO and raise funds and investors. And that's the biggest difference with maybe some other brokerages that are copycats now and offering equity to their agents. But what I have found in my own due diligence is that they're very investor heavily owned, which leads you to the question of, are they going to make decisions based on what's most important for the agents or the investors that they have and their obligations to those investors?
Ooh.
Food for thought.
Yeah,
that's all. Your own due diligence.
I'm my mind just keeps prayer is his secret weapon, which I love. He was the #1 Remax agent in California. So how he grew his EXP business is making calls from 2 to 5 every Friday, and he honored his time block. EXP did the work by creating the model. We just have to share it. We don't have to come up with anything. It's so easy. They've laid it all out. And this kind of like stabbed me in the heart.
Uh-oh.
Stop iconing and play the long game instead of the short game.
Or do both, right?
I mean, I think having the stock is a good long game.
Yeah, absolutely.
A long game plan, but it is a good point. Like you icon by selling a lot of houses, but as soon as that house is sold, you don't really get paid on it again, where you help another agent have agent health care, all these different things. Will hopefully get paid off of that for the next 50 years.
Well, I think the principle behind it is you could sell 20 or 200 million last year, but you only got paid on those homes once, right? You're not going to get paid again. Whereas stock equity, revenue share, helping others, there's a payment that's going to come with that, both in the financial and on a personal level. That's going to come for years to come. So that's probably the method behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Is the sales that you have only pay you once for the most part.
Right. Listings have babies, like sign calls, open houses. So focus on listings compared to buyers, but you can get buyers from listings. And so he would have open houses, and just really everyone that came in, he had a great script, and they all pretty much used him as their realtor. Something else I learned about a whole nother stream of income, which is a way that we like to put like distressed properties, to refer a distressed property into this system, and you can refer other people. That was just something else, and Rob Flick has partnered in on this.
Is that express offers or something different?
No, something totally different called Sunday.
Okay.
And they have like a revenue share type thing on that. And like Rob was talking about, he has this guy Curtis that has blown up. He's being a very successful agent with a lot of people in his organization, but Curtis is his line 8, which means Rob doesn't get paid for him. It's still good and beneficial, and of course he still does so much to help him, even though he doesn't make any money off of it. So he made sure with Sunday it goes down like infinite levels.
Gotcha.
And it'll just be good to help our sellers with those distressed properties, because they'll get like about 8 to 10 cash offers, not have to do any showings and things like that. And it's very simple for us. So that was something else I learned. But moral of the story, wear sunscreen, go to every event, help as many people as you can. Do it now, so when you can't, you don't have to.
And get out of your comfort zone.
Get out of your comfort zone. And the next event he's putting on, Build 23. I'm going to go to that. It's going to be in San Antonio. So I'm very excited for that. Come with me, please.
I love it. Well, yeah, Brent actually asked us to speak. So we've got some
mentioned that to him, and he says, I think she said they have a wedding or something, but I'll keep working on it.
Yeah, so Hamoodi's sister's getting married, and we're just waiting to get some final dates, because obviously, family things always come first. Right. So as much as I want to be there. So that's awesome. I mean, Sarah, I really appreciate your time. I mean, I really enjoyed, seeing you guys have fun in Cabo, and the takeaway. I love that you take notes, because that's incredibly important. I think not only to kind of refresh, but also just mentally to be able to revisit it at a later time and share with others.
Paper.
I think that's great. I mean, if you go to a Tony Robbins event, he talks about how incredibly important it is to write it down. So I usually write it down, and then I'll go put it in a Google Doc and I'll type it. So I've done it 3 different times, and then revisit.
I want it in the notes in my phone, so I can just search a particular word and then find what I'm looking for, But I'll tell you, if you go to Cabo23.com, you can, all the slides from all week are on there too, if you want to act like you were there yourself, except without the fun beach.
I love it. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. I really appreciate you jumping on this Winners Wednesday. And, you're truly a winner and sharing and being collaborative. And obviously you do well in real estate, but you've got that servant leader heart and just wanting to share your notes and sharing this opportunity with others. So I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And I hope to see you next week.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Sarah.